Hey, it's your host, Glenn Dorman with Southern Rap Paranormal. What in the world am I doing on a Monday, an hour early from the usual show? Well, tonight is going to be a special show. We're going to be, I'm supposed to have a guest in a few minutes. Greg Cause is going to drop in, and we're going to be discussing the new 2020 show tonight, Bad Romance, special 2020 show. Why am I got the TV turned down and don't have a camera on watching a show on ABC? Well, because a video I made is going to be shown on the show tonight. And it's talking about a double murder that happened in Chicago that I was semi-involved in, i.e. did a photo shoot of the person accused and convicted of the double murder. They're discussing where she's trying to get another trial. They say there's new evidence. They're going to discuss it tonight on 2020 Bad Romance, which comes on in 6 minutes according to my computer clock. So if you want to watch the show and listen to mine during the commercial breaks, that's fine. I don't have to get Greg to cut his TV down because we do not want to disseminate, I think I got that right, disseminate anything of the show because I'm not paying ABC money to show their show, or at least the rights to it, although they did pay me for the rights for the video show tonight. So just going to talk about it because I do know some bit about it, having appeared in 2020 already, and true crime and CNN headlines of vengeance, and what else was there? Snapped. How can I forget Snapped? Show that I appeared on Snap was one of the most popular top 25 Snap shows ever aired, and that was voted on by the people who watched the show. Anyway, they will be rehashing this on tonight in about 4 minutes. So watch the show and maybe listen in to me because I'll be talking during the commercial breaks. I might say something during the show. I don't know. If I listen to the show, I got to turn the mic down low because I cannot show any part of the TV or allow the volume to be going over the microphone. So I'm going to turn the mic down and whisper in the microphone so I can at least hear a little bit of the show. All right. Anyway, it's a special show. This is the paranormal, and we are talking about a murder where I lived for over 14 years in Chicago. Come up in just a minute. So we're going to go ahead and go through the intro. So Bones, hit the intro.
Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman featuring Bones. Catch us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, Stream, and everywhere else you catch your podcasts. And of course, WLFE-DB.com. Now, from the backwoods of southeast Arkansas, right beside the Bayou Bartholomew, the longest bayou on the planet, broadcasting from downtown metropolitan Cane Creek Township, here is your host, Len Dorman.
A little bit of creepy music. Mood. couple seconds. I believe it's a Bachelor showing right now for another minute. Talk about people looking for love in the wrong places. That's the story of the Bachelor. In 2020 is going to be covering somebody looking for love in quite a few wrong places. This is the lady involved, Marni Yang. She's been accused and convicted of double murder. But is there new evidence that might free her? Tonight, we are about to get started. I got 9 o'clock, so this is running. The Bachelor's running a little bit over. They'd have to pay me a lot of money to be on that show. ABC, Disney asked me, "Do you want to appear on The Bachelor?" And I said, "You can't afford me, not that." And here we go. I like the way they're starting it. ABC, folks, the show is coming on right now. We're going to be talking about that. Turn the mic down because a little bit of this is going out. Oh, well, I guess that's as long as I'm talking, you can't hear it. This is why this is kind of deep. If you're watching ABC, you understand what we're looking at tonight. They're showing some of the background right now and a little bit of the why this is still being talked about. And that's supposed to, I guess, Rick Haas is supposed to drop in a minute. He was doing another show till 8:30, so he may still be getting out of that. And we're going to continue here probably till after 10, maybe we go to 10:30, 11 o'clock, depending on what goes on tonight and what we do. I find this amusing. They got some of the old video in squares on the screen with the name of the show on either side. It's cute. Hello, Greg. If you want to know more than I can say right now, you could at least turn the TV on ABC because the show is on right now.
I I I have the computer and I got the TV is upstairs,
Oh, okay.
so I'm fine. Reggie should be here in a few minutes.
Okay. They're going over the background of the case now. They're showing the victim.
So what's the backstory on all this? I have no idea.
Okay, this was years ago.
Okay, so this is a cold case.
Well, sort of. It's being brought back to court after somebody has done about 10 years in jail for doing the crime because she always said she was innocent. And her lawyer now thinks they've got evidence enough to clear her and put her out of jail. The reason I say it's a double murder, yeah, you had the accused and convicted, by the way, murderer of a double murder because the other girl was pregnant. And she supposedly fired 2 bullets into the woman's abdomen to definitely kill the fetus.
Oh God.
And
I'm sorry.
she opened her door to her apartment and she had a semi-automatic just emptied into her.
Well, where did this happen at?
Just north of Chicago.
North of Chicago.
Yes, sir. And
Where
it
at?
involves I forget the name of the small suburb of Chicago north. Definitely a suburb of Chicago. It involves Sean Gale, who was dating both women.
From the Bears.
From the Chicago Bears. He caught an interception and scored a touchdown in that game. He was dating both women.
Okay.
And now the new evidence is going to say Marni Yang, who is this young lady, is not guilty, and that perhaps Sean Gale did it. So what we can see tonight is this true? Can we come up with a guilty party to say, yes, Marni did it, or no, it was somebody else? Was it Sean Gale? By the way, these pictures are mine. There's a copyright down at the bottom of it. These are my photos. I don't copyright them. Nobody else can use them. These are taken in my studio in the basement of the house in Chicago. About 6 months before the shooting.
Wow.
And she's the one that's been in jail for a while.
10 years.
They asked her questions. They interviewed her. They said, they had no evidence against her. Then she bragged about it to a friend who went to the police, and the police said, can you wear a wire? The girl ran a wire and got Marni to say things that only the perpetrator would know.
Wow.
And admit that she did it. And then the police said, this may not be quite enough because your questions weren't specific enough. Can you wear a wire again? She said yes. So they went to Denny's a second time. And Marni again admitted to it, a little bit more emphatic this time, a little bit more directly. And she was her own prosecutor's witness against herself in the trial. And now she's saying she was just talking. It was just fun. That somebody else committed the crime. They did see somebody. There were a couple of witnesses for somebody running from the crime scene. They described a black male.
Oh boy!
Because apparently Marni had gotten a wig and darkened her face.
Huh.
This was all over the newspapers. Been about 15 years.
Yeah.
And I was on 2020 once. I was on Snapped. They did a show on the same thing, obviously. And last I heard, this was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Snapped had a contest on YouTube about the most favorite episode. Turn this heater off. Of everybody, and this episode that I was on was ranked 15th favorite episode. So it was on 2020, Snapped, True Crime. Then I came down here. I thought it was over. I really did. I thought I'd come down here and forget about it. But no, I got contacted by True Crime, and they wanted to do a quick interview. And then a year after that, I got contacted by a producer for CNN Headline News, and they did a show very similar to Snap for a little while called Vengeance. Then a year or so ago, 2020 did a 2-hour spot on this. I was going to appear on this one, but that was in the middle of COVID, so they didn't want to, bring me all the way to Chicago to be interviewed, and I didn't want to travel to Chicago at that time. As I just said, it was in the middle of COVID, and I didn't want to take a chance, and they didn't either. But some of the photos and the video did appear. Okay, I heard a woman screaming. Oh, I can't read that. That's ABC. They're talking about some of the evidence. But then they contacted me Friday. They were getting desperate because they couldn't get a hold of me, and asked me to sign a release since they already had a copy of the video. And would I sign it over for them to air on this show? And we completed that transaction this morning.
Wow.
So it's just something we put together Friday afternoon, let everything go through the wires over the weekend, and that we fully completed this morning.
Hey, I'm going to run. I have to run upstairs and get my phone because I got to find out where Reggie is. He's supposed to be on. Oh, it's in my back pocket. Jeez.
Well, you don't have to run upstairs then, do you?
I don't, thank God. Have you been watching this special they had on about Masters of the Air?
No, we don't get that. Some, I forget what it's on, Paramount Plus or something.
Yeah,
one of the paper channels. Huh?
It was the one about the B-17s.
Right. I'm familiar with it because we don't pay for that service, so I cannot see it.
Okay.
But I've been watching reviews. There's 4, 5, or 6 people have been doing some very excellent reviews on that show on YouTube. So I've ended up watching a lot of it. Not on the big screen, of course. But that's an amazing show in my book. What do you think?
I think I don't know where the hell they came up with the 13 B-17s. That's what I don't know.
A lot of the flights and the B-17s are what do they call it? CGI.
What do you mean?
Special effects put in by a computer.
Oh, are they really?
Yes.
Holy crap.
There's not many B-17s still flying.
Yeah, I think there's one.
Last year.
Yeah, one went down.
One went down. It was hit by the, what was it?
Yeah, there was another plane that was
P-20, 20,
No, it was a
P-30,
P-40.
yeah, it wasn't a P-40. It wasn't a Thunderbolt. It was
No,
a,
I'm
it was
talking P-40 was a Flying Tiger.
right, exactly. That's a Thunderbolt plane, P-40. But I think it was a P-38 or something like that, 36. Anyway, it's called the Cobra. The cockpit
Cobra?
had, instead of having one piece glass,
Yeah.
it had several pieces of glass kind of put in a framework. And that's why American pilots did not like it. Russian pilots loved it for some reason, whatever reason. It had a big gun that stuck out right in the middle of the propeller that kind of rotated around. And the Russians
Oh,
fell in love with it.
that was an Air Cobra.
Air Cobra, exactly.
And it's a P-39, I want to say.
P-39, I was close. And, this was in Deerfield. Murder. I forgot what it was. They just showed it. Deerfield. Anyway, if you saw the video, I saw it several different views and in slow-mo. The guy just did not see the B-17 because of the framework around his canopy.
Right.
And they were notorious for that. And his wing just sliced the B-17 right behind the wings. And nobody there stood a chance.
That's
They were
horrible.
flying low, and even if they had their parachutes on and been ready to jump, they couldn't have gotten out.
I've never. It's right now. It's the number one film that I've ever watched on B-17s.
I've watched a lot. I watched a lot of 12 O'Clock High. You remember that series?
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch that as a kid. And I actually have the 12 O'Clock High movie on my DVR. It's one of my favorite movies.
Wow.
And if you've ever seen it, it is used in some business schools. Different methods of management. And that movie is a class on different methods of management.
I'll tell you, that was when my two oldest were small, we went to Waukegan because they had one of the 17s was there, and we're probably 10 people out there that were coming to get a look at the aircraft, and they were offering rides, and I want to say it was $50 a piece at the time, but they had to have so many people there to get on. And I can remember going ahead and going to the back of the plane, and they had an actual ladder there that you could climb up into and to get into the aircraft. And it was one of the later versions because there was never that hatch, that full door on the back on a lot of the newer or older ones. And I can remember, we're standing there. I'm going there with my two boys, and there was a guy in a Marine outfit with a pair of those big. He had those aviator glasses on, and he had a Marine hat on. And I looked at this guy, and I thought, God, I know this man. Who is this man? And that's when he went ahead and I says, "Hi, I'm Greg." And he went ahead and told me who he was. And it's Pappy. It was Pappy Boyington. The real thing. The real.
You met Pappy. You met Pappy.
Pappy Boyington.
Wow.
And he was probably 5'4".
Yeah,
and
he was not very tall.
and he's already getting skinny. You know, he's been out of the service so long, and Lord only knows what he was doing. But he treated my two sons really, really nice, and I'll never forget it. And it was like, boy, if only I could have traded some time with him and flew one of those F4Us. That was a great plane. Yeah. Now I have some pictures that were taken. One of my best friends from high school, his father flew out of Rabaul in the Pacific in World War II in a B-25. But the B-25s they had over there were the ones with all the multiple machine guns in the nose, no plexiglass nose on it. It was all metal. It was a gunship, basically.
Right. That was the A-25 conversion, but they never called it that.
And they had like 9 or 10 50 caliber machine guns in the nose. And then it had the guns on the side of the fuselage and that. And I have pictures of him standing. I have pictures of his whole crew. And then I have a picture of him standing by one of the wheels on the 25, right underneath. So you're looking in past the prop, and he's standing there. And he told a story to me about one time they were on this night raid, and they had just pulled up, and they had taken quite a few hits, he said, and they were on their way back to base. He says, and they started to smell something. So he went ahead and he got a hold of the navigator, who came right up to him, and he says, "What the hell smells?" He says, "Something burning in there." And what it was he took a round right to the bottom of his seat. You know how they had those armored seats made out of steel?
Right.
And on top of it was his parachute. And that's what was on fire. from taking a round. Right? It could, any other time he would have been dead.
Yeah. That's why a lot of people in helicopters during the Vietnam War, you probably saw this, sat on their helmets.
Yep. I learned that after the first time I flew. On the way back, it was like, yep, well, I guess I'm going to do that from now on. And that's just because all of a sudden, it was, I don't even believe this is happening, because nobody told me I would be flying. I was in Thailand. And on the first 4 months that I was there, I was the new guy working at the APO. And I used to take dispatches in to the big air base right next door, which happens to be, it was a B-52 base, and it was called Utapao. And that was where I did a lot of my work out of. Well, I would go there, and they would fly me from there to Tan Son Nhut, and I had all these dispatches and official documents and everything in Vietnam. So I would go into the building, and I said, "What do I got to do?" He says, "You take those, you throw those there, take these and bring these over here, and then you see that man in the window there, and he'll sign for you, and then you'll be on your way." And I said, "Okay." And I went over there, and he signed everything, and I said, "Oh, great. Okay, is that it, Sarge?" And he says, he didn't say anything. And I turned around and says, "Okay, I'll see you tomorrow." And I turned around to walk away, and he says, whoa, new guy, come back here. So you know what I did?
What's that?
I'd have to get in a Huey and I'd have to fly around to these fire bases and deliver all this mail because I was the new guy. So I'd bring the mail for the fire bases, and I covered. I think there were 8 of them that I covered in one day, and some of them were in some pretty crazy territory. And it was all north of Saigon, almost into the Central Highlands, and it was nuts. So that first day, I'm on this helicopter, sitting. I got my helmet next to me, and I'm sitting in this seat, and I'm strapped in, and the door gunner's at the door, and I'm going, what the fuck did I do to get to do this? Really? Is this really happening? Is this real? And I'm looking down, and the floor is all dark. Okay. And all of a sudden there's these 2 light beams that all of a sudden appeared from the floor and went up. And I had my mic on, and I called the warrant officer, and I went ahead and I says, I think they're shooting at us. He says, hey, new guy, you're okay. Thanks.
They just showed part of my video on ABC.
Did they? Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to go ahead.
The working out part. Like,
God,
there's just curling a big way.
I don't, I don't see it in her. Do you? Sean Gale,
mm-hmm.
I just don't see this. You
It
can
happened.
see how she. No, I'm saying that this wasn't the pregnant one. This was the one that was shooting, right?
This is the accused and convicted murderers. Yes.
Okay. I don't see. She must have been a real whack job because I don't see her any. I don't know. I don't think I'd run around with her.
She was interesting to say the least.
Was she?
Yes. After this photo shoot, it took about 15 or 20 minutes. She noticed that this was out. And it took her about 15, 20 minutes to change clothes. Well, and I had a bathroom in the basement. She changed clothes in the basement. When we finished, instead of going into the bathroom to, put her street clothes back on, because I believe this was February, I think, when I was doing this shoot, and putting her coat on.
She just did it right there, right?
She took off her clothes, and instead of putting the wintertime outside clothes on, she decided to pose provocatively on the back of a couch that was in the basement, completely naked. And I said, "Oh my God, this is not going to go over."
So did she pay you for the pictures?
No, I paid her for the photo shoot. So I own the rights to these photos, not her.
I really don't see it, but there must have been something else.
Well, was it jealousy? He was dating another bodybuilding psycho, but she had an ironclad alibi, and the theory is Marni was afraid that Sean was going to marry the other gal because she was several months into her pregnancy and stopped dating her.
Wow.
That's the theory. Because somebody, and they traced it back to Marni, sent Roni the pregnant girl a list of about 15, 18 names of women he was dating.
Oh my God.
And Sean and Marni had slept together the night before the murder.
Oh God.
She got up and left and went, and supposedly, again, she's been convicted of this, going to the other girl's apartment. And when she knocked on the door, when she answered the door, shut.
God almighty.
And the first bullet went to her abdomen and killed the fetus. And it knocked her backwards, of course. She had a homemade silencer. So it wasn't like, all that much velocity.
Yeah.
And she had to go into the apartment and follow her into the kitchen, continuing to shoot her. The gun jammed a couple of times, like that type of gun will jam when you put a silencer on it.
Okay.
There were some of the casings still had bullets that were on the floor, but the gun had jammed on once or twice.
Boy, I'll tell you.
It was a crazy situation, and that's why it's been covered all these years in the media.
Is it different reporters that have done this story, or is it the same one?
This is a different set of reporters.
Okay.
That I appeared on. They did not interview me for this, and they did not want the photos because there has since come out with several other photos of her that are in the public domain, and they use them.
Right.
Rather than giving me money to pay for the photos I'm showing here. And if it took the little bar running underneath, you'd see my copyright actually under this photo.
Right. Yeah, I was seeing that. It's really cool. I don't know if he's going to show up or not. I wish he does, because he's going to be. We're going to be on next week, I think, on the 14th.
This week.
This week on the 4th. Is that this week?
Today's the 11th.
Holy shit!
No, the 11th.
Len, you should have told me. You didn't know I was living on the moon, did you?
No, I didn't. So it's good I contacted you today.
We had a very interesting guest on the other night. I don't know if you've even had him on yet, but you want to go ahead and talk about things. Dr. Michael Lynch. I don't know if you've heard the name or not.
Can you say the name again? You kind of froze.
Dr. Michael Lynch. Lynch. You can go to his page. You can look up all the things that he's done. The man is absolutely amazing. And the other night he came on. He was on. I think it was my show and Reggie's show on Thursdays, because we do shows. Tonight was Psychics Unite. Tomorrow night is the X Factor Reggie's show. Wednesday is my show, which is One Spirit Connect. Thursday is Perfectly Normal Paranormal Communication, and Friday is Mariner Spirit, my show. Now, that's all week.
Right.
And most of them are at least 2 hours. So I've been going, I've been doing really, really good. The show that is on tomorrow night we're at episode 56 already. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. Now, I know the Mariner of Spirit, it was the old Shadow Hour that belonged to that other great friend of mine, Nick Sarlo. And I want to mention to you, or apologize to you, for mentioning those things about Mr. Kazmarek. I'm not normally like that, and I had a really, really bad day, and they were changing my meds, and it was something that goes against my character, okay? And I'm not that kind of guy to do something like that unless the person is really, really hurt me. Well, he hurt a lot of people. So that's what I wanted to say to you for sure tonight was, I hope you take into consideration the things that numerous people had to put up with. So it wasn't just me. And it was a big, big meeting when the questions were asked, and he just point blank lied about it. And that was it. There was things that were going on in the meeting that shouldn't have went on, and this is all on Zoom. And I felt bad about that, but when I was done, it was like, well, nobody else spoke, and I wasn't going to go ahead and be that little puppy with my tail wagging between my legs, because we were all part of that. Every last damn one of us. Yeah, I wasn't brought up that way, you know what I mean, to react that way. So that's why I said what I said. And
That's
you were, go ahead.
I don't have a problem with it. It was said in confidentiality. I've not repeated even to Gail what was said. So that's just between me and you.
I just, I'm not going to tell you to be forewarned, because I don't think he would do anything that stupid. But, just the things that have been done. And I think he really had something really going great for him. And then he blew it all apart, even with Ursula, And I was part of the Antioch thing when they got together after the fiasco about the Lincoln Park Zoo and the contract there.
Yeah, that was a mess.
Well, that's part. This is the next time they see each other after that was in Antioch by me. So, I mean, and it was, you go tell him. I says, I'm not going to, what do you mean me? Why do I have to do it? This has gone on long enough, don't you think? And she took offense to that part. And I just said, hey, I love you. You're a wonderful lady, but what you're asking right now is out of my hands. And this was after we did that hunt the town. And guess who my partner was? Dale.
Mm-hmm.
And we were, boy, I can't remember the name of the store we were in. Well, we were in one of those one of those toy places for costumes and masks and all the paraphernalia you need for Halloween. It was right in the middle of the street, kitty corner to where the Mason Lodge was, where most of the big players were. While Katie and KD Stafford were there, and I didn't see them to the very end. And those are the people that I work for now. I'm not. I'm not. When I left Shadowhunters, it was like, well, I could be all by myself for all I care. But then Reggie came into play, and then Supernatural Inc. came into play, and I happen to really, really love them all, and it gives me every once in a while. Hopefully, it'll give me access to. I can't. Bruce Holiday, because Bruce Holiday does a lot of little things for Supernatural Inc. posts. And if you want to ever on Facebook and went there, you can see what he puts on there. And I'm usually the one. I used like an admin on the page, so I have to really go ahead and make little comments. But I've only had him on my show once. But to me, Bruce Holiday today is almost equal to Frank Sumption, just in communication. Now you got a lot of real close people right behind him. I'm probably 25th right now. I don't know. But the reason I just never had a real good partner. And when I was with Dale's group, I was the one that was doing all that. So when we went to Valeska Ex Murder House and that's what I was doing. And for our school is where Mike Wright bailed out. He got scared and took his headphones off and his blinders because we were in the furnace room and something was in there. And we were picking up this signal. You listen to Spirit Boxes a lot?
Yes, I have in the past.
How you got the sweep going on it?
Right.
Well, with the sweep was creating the white noise, and above the white noise was a ticking. And I had like 4 different investigations. I had 3 up in Wisconsin at Broadhead Manor. I think I was at Old Baraboo. And besides that, I was there for our school with him. And I had told him about it. And I said, listen to it. See, just be careful. Just listen to it, And he just freaked out. And since then, I've had it happen about 5 or 6 times. But I do more channeling today than I did back then. So I'm handling it entirely different. Mike Wright's still a great guy, and I would love to have him still doing doubles with me. But I've seen some strange things happen to him. We were at Rose, where the Rose Hotel is?
Yes.
Rose in Atlanta, Indiana. He actually got jumped in the hallway. He was leaning against the wall and his legs were sticking out a little bit, and whatever it was just came and just like jumped right on him at about probably 3:15, 3:30 at night. And he got freaked out. I can understand why the spirit would do it though, because Michael's the biggest thing around. You know what I mean? So you'd figure you'd take the biggest guy down. So is that show still going?
Yeah. And by the way, this murder happened in 2008.
Okay. I couldn't even tell you what I did. The only thing I know that I did in 2008 was I was in Canada fishing, like I normally do every year. Besides that, muskie fishing, I don't know. That's all I do. All I did until I got old. Now I'm going to go. You
One
what?
thing I've always been afraid of. One thing I've always been afraid of with this murder is
What about?
she went to Lowe's and bought several things, a book on how to make silencers.
To make what?
She to make silencers, a homemade
Okay.
silencer for a gun.
Okay.
She got a bucket and some concrete mix. The weapon has never been found because, according to her, she put the gun in the bucket, put some water with the concrete mix, let it harden, and then threw it in a body of water. So the gun can never be found.
Holy shit.
So
Boy.
I don't. After admitting all this and just saying it's a joke, I don't think that this is going to overturn her conviction. And I mean, what would the county even say to her? Okay, you've been in jail for a year for a crime we just proved you didn't commit. I don't know what the compensation for that would be.
God, I don't know. I don't know.
So and that's why they keep showing this on 2020. Now the third show that's kind of dedicated to it because it is this wondering thing. Some people say her kids, especially, said she was railroaded. There was no real testimony. They played the tapes that her friend had recorded of her. That was the biggest witness. She herself was the biggest witness for the prosecution.
Huh.
Is her recorded voice.
Yeah.
Without that talking over the wire that she's now saying was just talk, he just made it up. She never would have been arrested for it. To say nothing of convicted, because there was no evidence. And of course, involving the Bears, one thing.
He was a good player.
Yeah, he was a good player. It involves the Bears, and she was also having affairs with several Deerfield and Chicago police officers.
Oh my God.
So did the police railroad her just to keep her shut up before she gone to Sean Gale with that paper saying, that he's dating all these girls?
Or she was trying to screw the police department.
Yeah. Was she trying to get blackmail money? Because her and I met through a real estate.
Oh.
They were meeting in the warehouse district, and Gail dropped me off. Gail, for the listeners, Gail's the wife.
Yeah.
And he dropped me off, and I saw an old elevator there. And I said, okay, I've got to jump in this old elevator. This thing is probably twice my age, and I've got to ride up it. There was no out of order sign, so I just jumped in it.
Oh, boy.
One of those cage type elevators. Going up one floor. I thought, I got to ride this thing. So I got on the elevator, and it was one of these slow movers where you can read the headlines on the newspaper by the time you get to the next floor. It was really slow. While I was in the elevator, Marni parked her car out front, must have parked it right after Gail dropped me off, run inside, run up the steps, Because time I got to where at his loft number, she cracked the door, and I, of course, being a Southern gentleman, opened the door for her. And she turned around, and instead of looking me in the eyes, she looked straight at my crotch. She said, "Hi, who are you?" Which I thought was kind of unusual. Trying to communicate with somebody, you're not used to talking to their belt buckle. And that's how we met. Inside, she's supposed to be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
But she said she had nothing to talk about. She had no houses to talk about. And you're not much of a real estate agent unless you got one or two at least houses coming up a month.
Yeah.
That you and where it is and what kind it is, or, whether it's retail or housing. She had nothing.
She had nothing.
Which I thought was really strange.
So what is she why would she want to have that job or the title? Why would she want to go to school and do that if she was going to do that with it?
Don't know.
Why waste the money?
And I guess she did it back when she was married. Yang is her married last name. And she was supposedly Sean Gale's real estate person who turned him on to investment properties, because that's what he was looking to do, to invest in real estate. Quite frankly, that's why I was there, to learn the real estate business. And a little bit more about this, I went to other meetings other than where Marni was, and I was volunteering, myself and my brother-in-law, to run a store if they wanted to get it together, because one of them was complaining, one of the real estate people were complaining that with their rental properties and houses they bought, they had all kinds of so we're talking about opening and used furniture and other knickknacks they get in the houses when they clean them up to get them ready for rent or resale.
Yeah.
And I was volunteering mine or brother-in-law's time to sit around the store. Easy enough job, just very few people come in to a day, look around, buy something, you take the money, you put it in the register or the strong box or whatever you put it in and move on. It's not a hard job at all. And I'm saying, if y'all want to do this, I'll work like this for, kind of commission thing.
Yeah.
Because I could have taken a laptop and said, give me internet in there, and I'll sit there all day.
I'm going to have to see your old friend Wally.
Yeah.
Shortly.
And this is what we were discussing there. And Marni never had the 2 meetings I was there with her. She had nothing to add, no real estate to really talk about. And this confused me. And then she wanted to do a photo shoot. And I only paid her $100. And she came from Deerfield all the way to I live by Holy Cross Hospital and
right. So
Marquette Park.
Yeah, I know. Well, that was Oak Lawn, right? 95th and it was 95th Street.
No, I was on 72nd Street.
Oh, 72nd. South, was that Southwest Highway?
No, that was Street 72nd. And, what was the other name of the street? California.
Okay.
Excuse me, Gail correction. 72nd, 71st, and California. So she came all the way down, and there's no way she got from her place to mine in 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh,
She came all that way to get $100.
right.
And I always wondered, you know, did she buy the books or the bucket or the concrete, any of the items she used with the money that I gave her?
Good grief. Yeah, you'll never know that. I don't think.
Don't know that, but
No, I'm saying you'd probably never find out.
no, because it was basically under the table money,
Right.
and she could have used it to buy that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no record of where the money came from.
Well,
No way she had it. No record of her having the money. No record of her spending the money.
this night is turning into being a special treat because everything tonight that not only I've been talking with you on, but when we had our meeting, it makes me feel reinforced with everything that I do these days.
Uh-huh.
And I just want to let you know that. Thank you.
Hey, you're most welcome. Well, you and I have interesting conversations when we're on here.
Well, I enjoy your cultural background compared to mine because I was on the north side the whole time. So, for me, I was on Augusta Boulevard and Augusta and Lee Claire. So I was at Augusta and Laramie. So my neighborhood was down by you. It was a little harder. I think it went a little faster, but our neighborhood started to change so much. And I was going to school at Fenwick and Oak Park, so I had to go ahead and take the bus and the L,
Wow.
So, and that was a long time ago. And, and then I had another probably 7 blocks to walk from Oak Park Avenue and Lake Street to Fenwick High School. And finally I got tired of it. And that was it. I didn't finish up there. I should have, but didn't make any difference. Some of us had to go overseas and,
See, the only place I've been overseas is the Bahamas. That's it.
Well, there's a lot of world out there, Len.
And I didn't see a whole lot of it.
Well, you can still see a lot of it.
Yeah.
Just start taking your time to go ahead and giving something back to yourself.
True. Yeah, I went to an elementary school for 8 years, kindergarten through the 7th grade, to the same school, just a few blocks, and I'm not talking about city blocks from the house. I went 1 year to a junior high school, which was about a mile away, about a half away. And then the high school was catty-cornered across the elementary school.
You got to be kidding.
I cut across the old elementary school that I went to for 7 years, and I'd be on the high school grounds. That's where I went to high school.
Wow.
I graduated high school 18 credits, which will not even get you out of high school now. Now I think, depending on the school district, it's 21 or 23 credits just to graduate.
Yeah.
And mostly I took auto shop. So I was James C. I was the cool guy. I had the cool car. In my senior year, I built a 289. This is 1974. I started building it 1974, spring of. Well, actually, January. I started in the wintertime. But by springtime, I had put $2,300 of 1974 money into a 289 Ford.
You got to be kidding me.
Just the engine.
Just the engine?
Just the engine.
Was everything redone? Was it all rebuilt?
Yes, I did it myself. I built
Okay.
it myself.
I mean, but you got all brand new parts.
Yes.
Wow.
I had bigger rods than 289 comes stock.
Okay.
Get this. I had 12.8 to 1 compression pistons,
Wow.
which today would not even run on premium gas.
No, it wouldn't.
I just about had to put, even back then, had to put airplane fuel in it.
I watched a video that a friend of mine had on. Well, he didn't have a video on. He had his phone, and he was doing a Facebook Live with us. You know who Anthony Sablalos is?
I don't believe I've heard that name before.
He's from the Wraith Hunters,
Okay.
which is what I belong to now.
Right.
So I belong to the Texas group. And it's the best move I think that we've ever made as far as not only the locations that are there, the climate. You know, I could very easily move to San Antonio. I'd have to go down there and check it out, but you know what's really hard for me is the fact that Grandma's not coming with, because she wants to be by the grandkids.
Of course.
And I says, well, have them come down and visit us there. Or I don't have to live in that part of Texas. I could be over somewhere else too. I could be in Bama. I was thinking of Bama again, because I was in Ozark for probably about 3 months, I think 3 or 4 months in the military, because that's where Fort Rucker was for Huey's. So, but it was all part of it. Had a wild time down there.
Yeah. The bar situation down in that part of Alabama, you go to, let's see, what is the name of that town? Dothan.
Dothan, yeah.
The bars open 7 days a week. Sunday they close. They're required to close 1 hour, and what they do, they keep the door unlocked, but they can't really do anything. No dancing, no music. Can't play a jukebox. They can sell you a beer. Not too blatant about it, because they can't have a crowd. But they close 1 hour, and they'll sweep the place out. Check the registers. Restock the coolers. Then they're ready to crank up again. But there's a bar down there called Cowboy. You ever end up there?
No.
It's one of the largest nightclubs in the United States. I think it's remember that big Texas bar?
Okay.
What's his name had?
I can't think.
Music singer. That was the largest club in the United States, and Cowboy is not too far behind inside.
Jeez.
Yes, tremendously huge place. I used to work with a rock band. I was a roadie there.
You were a roadie?
Yes.
Huh.
This is 1991. So yeah, I was a roadie, and did stage security. If there's just a fight on the dance floor, knocking over tables and stuff, I ignored it.
Right.
But if they got on stage, crowding the stage or doing something on stage, I had to move them. There were some pipes overhead that some girl started swinging from the pipes and screaming. I took care of that. One night there was two big guys. These guys were well over 6 foot, 6'3", 6'4". They looked like they weren't quite the size of football players, but they looked like a couple of 6'2" second basemen going at it.
Oh,
These guys were solid, and the bouncers could not do anything with them. They tried to stop them, and they just couldn't. They just get away from them, knock the bouncers over. And then I was just watching and said, I wonder where this is going. Talking to my girlfriend at the time. Then they got knocked into the lighting. The lighting we had sitting on the floor. They got into that, and I said, my turn. So I just grabbed them both by the front of the shirt and shoved, using one of them weight against the other. They were probably 220, 230.
yeah.
So I just used their weight against each other and shoved them in opposite directions. One with my left hand, he went flying backwards to the biggest bouncer, who got him into a full Nelson, took him face first to the floor. Then I got the left one, the right one, I pushed him, again using the other guy's weight against him, where he went flying off his feet and smashed into a table with 4 chairs. Of course, knocking the table out, completely on the floor, knocking the 4 chairs backwards, and I landed on his chest, buried my knee into his sternum and pushed upward, putting pressure on his lungs and heart.
Oh God!
I caught my foot, put it on his personal bits, and when I pulled my leg up to put pressure on in his lungs,
Yeah,
of course,
right.
I had his personal bits scrunching up. I grabbed him by the shirt collar and was about to tattoo his face when he started waving his hands. Said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Stop! 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 Whoa, whoa! Stop! I don't even know who you are. Can you let me up? I don't know you. I got nothing against you." And I said, "Look, I'll let you up, but if you start one more thing with me or get over here in the band's lights, it's going to be hell to pay." "Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I won't do a thing." So I let him up. And it turns out it was the other guy's fault that started the fight. And the guy that pushed through the tables and almost pushed out bought me a beer later on. He said, "I've never had my butt kicked that fast." So that's my fun time as a roadie, i.e. bouncer, when the music's played.
Unbelievable.
So,
You had a good life.
I've had excuse me. I've had a very active life. I've done a lot.
Yep.
It all started in high school. I said, I want to do things that puts me in a place. People on Facebook quit in my stream. Well, who have you met that's famous? And most of them put, this person or that person. Of course, I was a friend to the Carter family, and back in the mid to late '60s, I would sit down watching pro wrestling, the little small time stuff in Columbus, Georgia, and I was sitting next to Miss Lillian Carter, Jimmy Carter's mother. So of course I met when he was running for the state legislature. I met him when he was governor, running for governor first, then governor. And then also met him when he was running for president and as president. So I've actually shook hands with a sitting president. And I also met the third man to walk on the moon, the commander of Apollo 12.
Which one was that?
Pete Conrad.
Okay. That was a moonshot, right?
Yes, he walked on the moon. He was one of the 12, and he was the third. He was the third person. You had Armstrong, Aldrin, and him.
And then the one that I was watching yesterday was the last one.
17.
Yeah.
17 was the last one, unfortunately.
And they had a couple issues on that one.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see. I was telling you earlier that it might be a good idea if you got this Michael Lynch on your show. And I'm
Well,
just throwing
I
that.
wrote his name down. So he's on Facebook, right?
Yes.
I'll look him up.
And tell him that I sent you. Okay.
All right. I appreciate that.
And if he starts laughing, you're okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you know me, I'm bad about making people laugh.
I'm telling you, because you come from, I had cut all my whole entire one side of my family was from back of the yards. So we came from back of the yards all the way down to Oak Lawn when there were like 2 houses on a block.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my Uncle Eddie. And my Uncle Eddie, my dad had 8 brothers and sisters.
Oh, wow.
And his house where he grew up was right on, I can't think of the name of the street now, but across the street was the fence, and that's where the stockyards was. So he was back in the yards. And I remember when I was a little kid and I used to run through their house, and I'd run because I heard a train moving. And I wanted to see the animals. And I was a little shit. I was a brat. But that's all part of it. Where is goddamn Reggie? Of course, we're coming on Thursday anyway, so maybe that's why. He says he was tired now that he got done eating. He was all, and I says, look, Len's on. We got a chance. We can go talk to Len for a while.
Oh, you notice for one, I'm on my other computer. I'm on my desktop, not my laptop.
Okay.
And I don't have a camera on.
Okay.
That was my problem. Even when I had fairly fast speed on download,
yeah,
I was having really crappy speed on upload. So when I cut off my camera, all my show issues.
I could hear something in the microphone every once in a while. It's almost like the signal goes way out and then comes back in. It's like the sound is reduced almost to the point that I can't hear you. And I don't know what the hell. Huh?
I'm sorry.
But what I was saying, I was just letting you know because that would drive me crazy.
Well, you see, I can't hear myself in the headphones.
Right. Well, that's why I'm saying it.
Appreciate that. I've got a cough drop in my throat because for some reason I got talking early. You notice my voice changed. I started getting hoarse. So Gail brought me a couple of cough drops and something besides water because when I'm drinking the water, it just dried my throat out.
Oh, I have somebody else for you.
Okay.
Chuck Williams.
Okay, that's a fairly simple name.
From the south side.
Williams, right?
Yes, he's from Indiana now. I think he lives in that town next to the big one right across the border there.
Okay.
I can't think of him.
I'll look into it.
He's a documentarian. He's done now. I think this is my fourth one that I did with him, documentaries. And he says, well, you guys finally moved up. Now you get your own credits. And it was like, great. I was in Gary, Indiana. and we were shooting a reenactment, or we were shooting the yard where the trains go around and they slow down really. It's a big curve, so they're forced to slow down a lot there, and that's where the circus train crashed.
Right.
So
What
we
year
did
was
that
that?
1918.
I said 18. I couldn't remember. Thank you.
And there he had a whole bunch of stories, and it was really a sad day. And it was because not a conductor, an engineer was driving this war train. It was basically one of the troop trains that they ran.
Right.
They'd run them one way, and then when they dropped everybody off, they'd have to go back. So they would be flat out flying, and they would never. This engineer fell asleep. Part of the back ass end of the circus train had pulled over in this fork, the side rail like. They had pulled in there because they had melted one of their rear wheels on their caboose. So they were working on that, but because of the size of the train, that caboose was out in live track.
Okay.
And so was another car. I think there were two cars. And lo and behold, what happens is that that guy's coming through. He's asleep at the wheel, and they're trying to stop him, and they're shooting flares and everything else at him, and he's ignoring it, and he just plowed right into the ass end of it. Killed all those people. Killed like 60, was it 70 people, maybe more,
Wow.
and a bunch of animals. And that's why they have, in Showman's Rest by Brookfield Zoo, that's where they have that. That's where they have those twin elephants there, and tells the story of all those people, and pretty wild time. That's for sure. When you really stop to think about it, it's like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Williams has done an amazing job. I have to say that.
All right.
I met him up by me. First time we ran into each other, then that was before I knew he was going to be with the same group as I was. He was already with the group when I joined. I was the next one that Dale took, because he said Chuck had told him about me.
Okay.
Now,
What?
it was that was crazy. What was that?
What was what?
That noise.
I did not hear your noise.
Well, that's something's going through the line right there. Wait. Maybe it's my phone.
Do you hear it now?
Yes.
Okay. I was adjusting the volume on the mic. Do you hear it now?
Yes.
I don't know what you're hearing.
Very, very little now compared to before.
Okay. It could be that, let's see if it disappears now. You hear it now?
Well, when your voice is thrown through it, if I could hear it without it doing that, but I won't. It's just the way the night's going. It's the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? everything is that kind of business happens all the time anyway.
True. You got all kinds of stuff.
And
And
then you got,
remember, my internet doesn't go through cable, it goes through cell phone towers.
oh, then you probably got some UFO in between there.
Yeah.
You got,
I've got a big square antenna on a pole outside my front door.
get a big gun. Don't let them come through the front door.
Oh yeah, but my front door is metal. 2, I've got a deadbolt. 3, I've got a 12 gauge shotgun, and I frankly don't give a damn about shooting somebody that's coming through my door.
Oh, you're recording this, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's going out on Facebook and YouTube
Oh,
and WLFE-DB. It's also going out to that website, and they're putting on Spotify and the other networks.
where could these people possibly not enjoy themselves? Hey, did you see Jamie Lynn Keller? Much love
Yeah.
to yours. We got Greg. We got Carol in here. And then
Jamie
Chris
Lynn
Garcia.
Keller she is an awesome person.
Yeah, have you been around her?
I've had her on the show.
Have you? No, I mean, have you've been with her live somewhere?
No, I've not been live with her.
She's an amazing woman. She's an amazing lady. I wish I could. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I get that from her Facebook page. As active as she is, be friends that she has, the places she goes, she is, just as you say, an amazing person.
Yeah, she is. And I've known her now, I don't know how many years. Broadhead was the first one, I think. I can't remember. I think I saw her up at Old Baraboo, too.
Okay.
I
had the guy from Broadhead on a few weeks back.
Oh, Bill?
Yeah.
Bill's an awesome man. Awesome.
That was a fun show. And once again, I fully agree with you. Bill is an awesome man.
And he is a big boy if you had him live. If you got to see how big he is, he's a big boy.
He's a big dude.
Yep.
Of course, that's not why I'm saying he's a good guy. He's just a good guy.
I know. But you know what? He's always been very cordial with me. And anytime that I've been up there, he's treated me like a brother. And I have to say that. And I don't say that about very many people, but he's one of the ones that when we first in there, I think he owned the building for about 30 days when we were there with him. And
wow.
We've been there for about 2 maybe 2 years, 3 years, maybe close to 3. But Bill Walter's always his dogs are unbelievable. He's got 4. I want to say he's got 4. He's got two black. He's got, I want to say, I don't know what they are anymore. Black labs. He had black labs, and he had some browns, but they were much bigger than you'd see on average size brown retriever and a black retriever. These guys are huge. It's always my kind of dog because we had a giant golden retriever that was just a huge. He was almost like a what were those guys that had the whiskey barrel underneath their on their collar? St. Bernards.
St. Bernards. Rescue dog.
Yeah. So
Cujo.
Yep. And then our last one our last golden was that huge guy. He used to go fishing with me.
That's a
He
whole lot
loved.
of.
Well, I was, I throw musky baits, so I throw real big baits, and he would in the wintertime, last couple times we were out, we were already breaking ice and everything, and we were out there fishing, and he'd come and he'd stick his head right between my legs, and he'd have his head out in front, and he'd watch the bait coming back to the boat, and he would stay right in that position. He would never move, and he would do that for 8 hours,
Wow.
8 to 10 hours. He'd always be right there. Unbelievable dog. I came off the lake, and the whole where the launch ramp is the channel, and the channel was all frozen over. And we were coming in, and I went ahead and pulled her up on the shore. I had to tie her off to make sure she didn't float back off because how much ice was in there. And as I went and I backed my truck up, brought the boat out, I got him out first, and he would just run around the ramp area. Nothing ever happened. And then, I loaded everything up, got it out, and I started calling for him and opened up the back end of the hatch of I don't even know what I had. I think I had back, it was my, the Tahoe. So I had a big Tahoe. It was okay. I didn't care if he shook off inside there, but boy, was it a stink, But I didn't know where he went. I couldn't find him.
Wow.
And I had the truck and the boat out, and I went back and I was looking and looking. And then I realized that's him. He was in the middle of the channel, and he was on the ramp, like on the concrete ramp, and
right.
the water was up to his chin. And he was sitting in there with all these giant chunks of ice.
Must have got hot.
Unbelievable pooch. Just a fantastic pooch. He died. I was on I think it was one of the big PMTT tournaments in Eagle River and up in Wisconsin. And I got a phone call, and my wife took him in, and he had to go to sleep. And she was gone all day long, and there was a guy here roughing the house, and the dog was downstairs in the basement, and he barked all day long, and I guess he just flipped his intestine. So that was it.
Wow.
And, I was up there fishing this tournament, and there's nothing I could do about it. It was a lot easier on me than it was on her. And that's where, you try to keep it, because it's, I don't know, I've been around too much of that stuff, And that's the thing that really bothers me a lot of times, is that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're surrounded by great people. So, there's more enjoyment. You know what I mean? You get to really enjoy the person. There's so many people that just don't have any life like that. And it's not a good thing, It's bad for them. I went through this period, this last probably 2 or 3 months, where I was having real bad issues with where I was and what was going on, and trying to figure out the things that, with I called Scotty Rourke tonight. You know who Scotty is, right?
I believe it do.
Scotty is my mentor.
Right.
So I work on all my stuff, all my work with him, with psychic medium and a lot of my channeling techniques and stuff. So it was like, get a hold of him. And I just said to him, I told him today, I said, I'm going to have to get back a hold of you because we got to do something. I got to get working on some stuff. Try to find things out. Because there's a whole bunch of shit that's, coming up, supposedly, they say. October. You heard that, right?
October?
Yeah. That was Dr. Michael Lynch that was on the other night on the show and said there's going to be a catastrophic event in October.
Well,
and then he said, and then at the end it was like, well, it could be right, it could be. And I said, I didn't say this to him, but my thought was, how many times have we been doing that since 2000? You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
So I mean, come on, let's get real about this. Meteorites or not, because it's something we're into now. We're into more of the star system and everything. I haven't done all my work for myself. I've done it for my sanity. And I've done it for going ahead and actually learning something that should mean something to me. And, when I ran into a couple of them, there's another one that I can give you a name later on. And that's, I can't. Didn't I have my phone here before?
Well, you put it out of your back pocket. I don't know where you put it then after that. So it's right there around you somewhere.
Okay. Sorry about that. But some of these people, if you got somebody interesting down by you want to go ahead and that wants to be on a show and they know what they're doing or they know what they want to talk about and it's interesting, send them my way. That's all.
All right.
Back and forth. These guys are just unbelievable. I can't believe these right on the front page of the Facebook page, Sydney Ray's. I don't know if you know who Sydney is. And you got Lurker on here too. And these are, Sydney was a Tennessee Wraith Hunters. And she was with the team.
I know it's funny.
And now she's not.
It's not funny. Yeah. No, it's not.
But they're great. They went their own way. And I think there's 6 of us now. But we're more refined and in our approach for what we do, and so it's not a bad move.
Groups are hard to come by nowadays because there's so many egos. Everybody wants to be the boss, and groups just aren't working. When I first came down here, everybody I talked to said I don't have to be investigated by myself because there's nobody. One person here in Arkansas in the paranormal, or two people.
Two people.
He was in the process of dropping. One of them was in the process of dropping out when I came down here. Said, dude, I wish he was here 2 years ago when I was active, but I couldn't get anybody to be in my group with me, so I quit. He said, but don't go ghost hunting by yourself. Another guy came around, and he and I were going to have some plans to do something, but all of a sudden he drops out of the paranormal And the only other people I know of in a paranormal group are two brothers about 3/4 way across the state from me. And that's it.
West of you or
Uh,
east of you?
West. They were over there uh, just maybe 30 or 40, 50 miles away from Texarkana, which obviously is on the border between Texas and Arkansas. And I'm over in
Right.
the south. I'm over in the southeast, not quite the corner, but I'm closer to the corner than I am the center part of the state.
How do you figure about your move when you move there? Is this something that you're quite happy about doing?
I'm ecstatic because property taxes were 1,800
Yeah,
covered
killing you.
1,800 we covered 6 months in the house we were in, and down here we pay about 210 for the house, the property, and the car. 210 a year instead of 1,800 for 6 months.
Well, yeah, but that's 36. It's almost $4,000 for a year
Uh-huh.
compared to your what you just said.
About 210 a year.
Yeah, so that's just phenomenal.
The tags are about $40. The little sticker you put on your tag is about $40. There's no city stickers that you got to have in downtown Chicago to park your car. Don't have any issues like that here. Of course, there's no place to go shopping. We have one grocery store, a McDonald's, a Sonic.
Yeah.
We got a Chinese restaurant. We got a Mexican restaurant. We got an independent hamburger place.
What else? What else
and
do you
two pizza
expect,
places.
Len?
That's it. Yeah,
That's enough. That's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, that's plenty for a town of 2,300. It's not bad.
Yeah, and it gives some people jobs, and
Yeah. Well, the big thing here, you got a wire plant that makes wire.
yeah,
In fact, my neighbor's an electrician there. And you had the chipper mill. The neighbor's father hauls an old truck, old rig with an old trailer, hauls chips. They buy the chipper mill buys trees, and they put it into a chipper, which breaks it up
right,
into little chips,
right.
and then they load it back on a truck and they haul it off to another factory. I guess they put some kind of scent in it, and that's the kind of chips that you throw in the barbecue, the bag of stuff
Okay.
of chips you throw into your grill. They do that here. That's the biggest employer.
Wow. Do you have any things that happen in the sky by you?
Sky?
Up in the sky, yeah, above.
Funny you should mention that. Uh, I was outside. I was doing you can burn outside here. We're in the county,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was having a small burn, and I was just watching the fire die down because you don't want it to get away from you and create a problem.
Right.
So I was watching it. It was kind of burning out. So I was looking around and saw very low on the horizon, just above tree level, one of the longest and definitely the brightest meteor I have ever seen in my life.
You said meteorite
Yes,
in the sky.
in the sky.
What night was this?
The tail was brighter than any star, and the head itself rivaled the full moon. Not in size, but in brightness.
What night was this?
Uh,
Do you remember or not?
10 or 12 days ago. It's working on 2 weeks. I think it was Wednesday or well, no, it wasn't been a Thursday because I did my show. Probably Wednesday will be 2 weeks ago. So it's about approximately 2 weeks. So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
That was very unusual seeing something that size because the rounded head was large.
They also said something that's another unusual thing that I heard was about these underground caves from all the way out in New Mexico that were built. These are underground bases that were built by the United States, and some of them are 12, 13 story, 14 stories deep, and it's just crazy.
Have you heard? This is a rumor now. This is just things I've heard and what things I read that the rich are buying places like you're describing and
Yeah.
stocking them with food.
Yep.
Some of them are selling the stock in their company to raise cash.
Oh, they said there were some big buyouts
Yes.
over the weekend.
Some people, the rich, are preparing for World War III.
Well,
Oh, and something come out today, and this was in Russian news. They are accusing Great Britain of having British troops on the ground in Ukraine. The German chancellor is denying that any German troops or any NATO troops are in Ukraine. The Russians are saying they have proof that there are British troops on the ground in Ukraine. And there has been about anywhere between 5 and 10 American former soldiers killed in Ukraine.
Easy.
They have a website. If you look it up, Volunteer for Ukraine. If you go down far enough, you'll see a website where they are recruiting people that used to be in the American military.
Oh yeah.
Go fight in Iraq. I mean, it's Iraq, Ukraine. I volunteered, but I'm too old, and I am not military trained. Although I do know how to fire a Bushmaster, which is
It's a start. It's a start.
Which is the gun on the Bradley and the Striker.
Yeah, yeah. That's a big piece of machinery.
Yeah, and the Russian troops are scared to death of it. Hang on just a second. I'm gonna take my headset off.
Okay.
Gail is putting drops in my eyes because I suffer a chronic dry eye. Good night. I got drops in my eyes and a belly rub.
Oh wow! Where could you possibly get that on a Monday night?
I guess you've been married 23 years. You can get it from my wife. I don't know. I just did.
No, I've been married a lot longer than that. So.
Hey, I even got a smoochie out of the deal.
Awesome. I just ran it.
That's the crazy thing about Ukraine. Us not funding them. If Ukraine falls, Putin's already said that he wants Poland. If he goes in, a boot hits Poland, a Russian boot hits Poland, that's automatic declaration of war between NATO and Russia due to Article 5. We have an American army already in Poland.
Great.
So to march across, we're almost immediately at war. The military says that they could sweep through Ukraine from the Polish border if Ukraine got completely taken over, sweep all the way through Ukraine and be in Moscow in 2 weeks.
I would say.
Of course, you know what happens.
Well, but that's almost regional now. I mean, look at all the testing and
Yeah.
things that have been going on. So it's going to be just the incineration of whatever it happens to be that they shoot.
Yeah. Iran has sunk a couple of ships in the Red Sea.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we launched anti-missile missiles for some of our ships and knocked down quite a few of them. Knocked down some drones, but they have sunk a ship or two with their anti-ship missiles.
Oh, my God.
Yes. China and Russia, or depending on who you talk to, have had meetings about having a war with them allied. But China, it looks at Siberia and drools. You know, like your great big old Saint Bernard used to do. You see a great big, he's hungry, and you pour out his food in the bowl and starts a little drooling. That's how China is looking at Siberia. Reason being, Siberia is pretty rich in gold, silver, copper, rare earths, which is a real important thing, and several other minerals. The Russia neither has the population nor the technology to go mine. China, as we all know, has the technology, and they got more than enough people.
That's crazy.
So are they going to be allied or not? North Korea, it says that any time they're going to come down to South Korea, and of course they'll launch a nuke to start with. If they hit Seoul with a nuclear weapon, you're going to kill thousands of our troops immediately, to say nothing of South Koreans. If we try to throw an army over the 35th parallel,
Mm-hmm.
going to North Korea, North Korea has 10,000 artillery pieces just across the border. We've got to send our jets in and knock out every one of them before we cross the border with an army. China has developed a hypersonic anti-ship missile, which is specifically designed to sink our carriers. The Air Force, has been perfecting our own hypersonic missile. The U.S. Navy has been perfecting a railgun. You know what a railgun is?
Why do I know that?
It works on magnetism. You put a projectile in it that's magnetic, iron, steel, whatever, and then you magnetize the gun and run the magnetism from one end of the gun to the other, and it shoots out the projectile at a hypersonic speed. No explosive, but the kinetic energy can go right through a lot of armor. So you take a good armored ship, it almost go in one side and go out the other.
Wow.
And they're starting to mount those on some of our ships. I heard a rumor, again, this is rumor, I'm not sure. I haven't been to Tinian, but you know Tinian Island. We launched most of our B-29 flights hitting Japan,
Right.
that island, including both nuclear weapons. They'd led it after World War II. They used it a little bit for Korean War, but after that, they let the jungle take it over. It used to be the largest runway system airport in the world. I heard they've cleared it, and we have planes sitting there.
I believe it.
The Philippines, they are saying in their media publicly, they say it doesn't matter don't matter who's fighting, with Russia or China, doesn't matter who wins, they lose, because their country will be devastated. We are armoring up some of the islands off the Philippines, putting more Navy vessels there. You know, we're replacing all of our Nimitz class carriers with this Terror Ford class.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them all over in Seattle.
we've got some new subs coming out.
Yeah, well, I saw one when we were in. My daughter lives north of Seattle in Bellevue, and we would make these big runs and go down to these beaches that were, those typical uh, northwestern beaches in the United States, and with the big rocks and some areas there was these rocks that jut up from the water like 100 feet, maybe less than that, but. And you see all these pictures, and you're always wondering. And then we were there, and we were walking, and it's all this. The whole entire shore is filled with driftwood. And we'd be walking, and my phone rang, and I pick it up, and it's my daughter, and she's up on the hill above us, way up on top of the cliff. And
Right.
she said, "Dad," she says, "look out into the channel." And this is Bremerton. So, and this is the Puget Sound. So I'm looking, I'm going, what in heaven's name? And then I realized what it was, and it was the biggest submarine I've ever seen. And it had 4 chase boats. It had 2 in the front and 2 in the back. And the chase boats were actually up on plane and moving quite fast. And that submarine was right in the middle, just like nothing, like it was hardly even moving. And that's the way it was going down the channel. And it was like, holy shit. Some huge machines. But I think that
I forgot I had myself muted here. Probably one of our new missile boats. Those things are just gigantic now. They're saying that the future, if we get there, instead of the aircraft carrier being the queen of the seas, was aircraft carriers replaced the battleship as the queen of the seas, that submarines may be the future. You're not going to have that many surface vessels. Everything's going to be on subs.
It's a little harder to hit, I think.
A little harder to hit, harder to see. The stealthiness is there.
Right. You don't want to stick something up in the giant hill in the middle of the ocean.
Right. Oh, India has 2 new aircraft carriers they built. They're showing them off right now. They're all nice and shiny, and India's showing them off. India.
Are they going to do flying carpets off them or what?
Airplanes.
No, I'm just kidding.
They cannot allow China, which China wants to close South China Sea, which would end trade between Australia and Japan and South Korea.
Yeah.
So we can't have that. They stop that. This international waters. If they try to stop all the traffic there, that's a violation of international law. And we'd have to go in there and say no. And the ship goes in there, we'd have to escort it. Of course, that's within easy Air Force range of every plane that China has. So
that's the only.
If we send a couple of destroyers in there escorting a couple of freighters, they can send their entire Air Force out after them.
Yeah, we'd have to go ahead and move to San Antonio. We'll move to Texas.
Yeah.
What can happen to us in Texas?
Or you move down here, because
I can come to Arkansas.
According to some experts, we are living right in the middle of the prime time place to survive a nuclear war. Because unless they take Dallas out or Shreveport,
right,
and the winds are blowing at us, we'd be okay. Now, if we have a complete I mean, if we shoot all of ours off, Russia shoots all of theirs off, the world's ending. Forget about it. The cloud will stop out the sun for 1,000 years, and every living thing will be dead. But on a limited engagement where you would have survivors, we've got water here. The water from Star City is a deep well that should not be affected too much by a nuclear exchange, especially if it didn't hit here. I live by a rather robust stream that never dries up, Cane Creek, and I live right by a bayou, the longest bayou in the world, and it's got plenty of water. Plus, there's a fishing lake. It's an artificial lake right down the street. So, water
you
we got.
You got a couple real big. Don't you have a couple reservoirs?
Got
Arkansas.
Got that one right by where we are, State Park. Yeah,
No,
there's a lot.
There's a big name. It's a big one. I have friends that fished it.
Oh, they are several big lakes here. Now, the Monticello Lake has dried up a little bit, and it's not as good a fishing as it was even when we came down here 8 years ago. It's had its issues in the last couple of years. I'm hoping it's refilling, unless they move the levee and are letting it dry up for some reason. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the state's doing down there, but there's a lot of fishing here.
And I bet, all their old. That's neat country.
Yes, and of course we're only on this hill. We're only 70 feet above sea level.
Holy cow! I have some friends in South Carolina now, and I gotta get my boat ready to go now. So, and then I'll start. We're gonna start. I have a grandson that's 17 now, so he's ready to, and he's been casting since he was about 4 or 5. So everybody, all the boys in the family are fishermen. Every one of them, which is something pretty cool.
As long as you can catch fish, you'll make it.
Well, they've always been really good kids. The oldest one, if I get him a muskie and he starts to scream like a little girl, I'm going to tell him to shut up.
How old is he?
17.
17?
Yeah, I want to see 17. He's a junior.
Oh, yeah.
And his kid brother.
I was 17. I was 17 my senior year.
Were you really?
Yeah, I didn't turn 18. I graduated in June. I did not turn 18 until July 3rd.
Where'd you go to school?
Columbus, Georgia.
No, I mean, you didn't go to school up here then, huh?
No. I didn't get to Chicago in 2001.
Why'd you go to Chicago?
To get married to Gail.
Oh, okay.
I proposed to her online. We met in a chat room based in London, just outside of London. And we decided we'd meet after 2 years being in a chat room with lots of other folks. We decided, let's all meet up at the Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilding show in Columbus, Ohio in 2001, last weekend of February 2001. So we all flew from our various places.
Columbus, Ohio.
And we met in Columbus, Ohio at the Arnold Schwarzenegger show. So yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger played a little bit in me getting married.
Oh, that's cool.
Along with, of course, the guy who ran or still runs the London website where we first met a couple of years earlier.
Huh.
And Gail and I saw each other once that one weekend.
Yeah.
And she went back to Chicago. I went back to Columbus, Georgia. And 3 months later, I proposed in that chat room.
Was she from Chicago too?
Born and raised.
Where at?
The hospital?
She no, I mean was she a South Side girl or a North Side girl?
South side. She's a South side girl.
South. From where? Marquette Park or?
That's where they lived. She lived in some places a little bit further south. She'd always they moved around. Her parents got divorced, so they were moving around. But it was always on the south side. She never lived on the west side. She wasn't going over there.
Like I told you that my whole dad's side of the family was there, and we had back in the yards, and then my mother's my great grandpa, I think it was my great grandpa, died in the basement of the tavern on 44th and Henry.
Really?
It was 4433 South Henry, and the bottom was a tavern. And my grandma, because I was being raised by my grandmother because my mother had polio.
Ooh.
So they came and took my mom away when I was 3, 2 or 3, 2.5, something like that. And she didn't come home until I was 12, 11, 12, something like that. But it was a miracle. She was okay. Her whole left side was gone. All her muscles in her arm and her leg,
Right.
and that kind of thing. But she walked right. She walked fine. But she was a little woman. I'm the smallest. I'm the smallest of everybody in my family too. And all 2 of her boys. Well, I have one son. My oldest is my size, and then his younger brother is over 6 foot.
Wow.
And then my daughter, she's 5'11", 5'10", and then everybody else is all pretty close, 6 foot. But that's because we're Palladians, That didn't stop you, did it?
A lot of people ask why Gail and I are here. Gail's parents were from here.
Okay.
They left here and moved to Chicago, got married in Chicago, and then got divorced, and they just stayed there. And that's why we decided to come down here, because Arkansas has very cheap land.
Right.
Since the problem was, a couple of them that drop it down the list as far as best places to retire, is the schools aren't very good, down at the bottom as far as schools go, and healthcare is down at the bottom. But
holy shit.
Yeah, but they've greatly improved that since we've been here.
Were you military too?
No.
Okay.
I was in boot camp for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. My knee swelled up the size of a big grapefruit. So doctors x-rayed it. They put me in a holding unit, decide what to do with me. Then the doctor looked at it and said, I can't see anything in here because you got a whole bunch of sandy bone in your knee. But we're going to get you out of here before I blame them, because it wasn't their fault. This is not, I didn't get screwed over by the military. I never fell. It was just irritation from marching on pavement.
Oh, yeah.
which is not something you normally do.
No.
And come to find out, several years later, when I had my knees cleaned out, my first knee surgeries, that I, in 1970, playing a football game, that's the only time I've ever been hit in the knee, and it hurt and gave me a little bit of a limp. It was the main meniscus cartilage was torn.
Oh, wow.
And when I was down there marching, it of course irritated everything and swelled it up. So they just said put on my record honorable discharge for medical reasons.
Well, that's good.
They did, however, put me on IR, so if they wanted to, they could bring me back.
Okay.
I picked up a lot of military talk, walk, etc., because when I went to Troy University,
Yeah.
I went to the Fort Benning, Georgia branch,
Okay.
which meant I went to college for 3 years and a quarter, 3.4 grade point average, by the way, where 98% of my fellow students were either military or military dependents, mostly military.
Wow.
And that's why I always say when I went to college, I got a bachelor's degree in business management, and I got a minor degree in ranger training.
That's pretty cool.
So I learned quite a bit from the soldiers out there.
Oh, you would.
And earlier than that, go back to 91, when I was doing the roadie thing, I had one roommate, former military, former Army, infantry, and two more stayed there for a while that had just come home from Iraq, the first Iraq War.
Oh, God.
They were mechanics on the what were the M113s?
Okay. Good. Wow. Those guys are.
They told me a harrowing tale of there was one M13 113 failed. They quit, and they were flying across the desert because the army was running from them. And what they did, they backed up the 113 he was in up to the front of the other one. Whatever you're doing is very loud.
Okay. It's done now.
But
Excuse me.
what he did, the mechanic there couldn't fix it. So while they were towing the vehicle as fast as their 113 would go, towing another one, he goes from one vehicle to the other, climbs in, fixes it, and then unhitched it.
You got to be kidding me.
Not kidding. They were moving so fast they just did not have time to stop because they had to stay with the rest of them.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I got about 5 more minutes, Len, and I'm going to go.
Okay.
If that's okay.
That's okay, man. We've been on here plenty enough. We discussed Marni during the show. Figured a lot of other stuff out, and I'm sure we'll have more stuff to talk about this Thursday.
Yep, we will. That's for sure.
Talking about doing moving vehicles, back in the 70s, I had mid 70s. I had a 73 Ranchero.
Okay, 4.
And I was out with a bunch of buzz. We were riding around. And back then, the cops weren't as big as drinking while you were driving as they are now. So I was sitting there. 2 of us were in there. And I had in the back of between us, we had a cooler full of beer.
You got to be kidding.
No, I had one in the window. One beer in the window, and probably one in my hand, driving and drinking like this. And we were out doing crazy stuff, driving around. got in the countryside, and the guy with me, I don't even know why he was in my car, drank Budweiser. I drank Miller.
You're the man.
And one of the cars pulled up beside us, and we're going 40, 45, 50 miles an hour. And he says, have you got any Miller products? All this car's got is Budweiser. If you got something with Budweiser? And I said, yeah, all I got is Miller. I've got no Budweiser. So we tried to get it from my hand to the passenger and just couldn't link up. So I just floorboarded it, got in front of him, slammed on brakes, spun the car around, jammed it in reverse, floorboarded it, got right beside the vehicle. So the passenger on my side and the passenger on their side who wanted the Miller product exchanged beers at almost 50 miles an hour. I was going as fast. I was revving to 50. I was well over 5,000 RPM on the engine in reverse.
Don't you think you'd rip somebody's arm off that way?
I could have ripped the arm off, could have ripped the side of our vehicles off because they were just inches apart. And me driving in reverse using mirrors.
Right. God.
And before that happened, a person was in the back of my truck, Ranchero, wanted to get in the back of a Jeep. So we pulled up next to it and held it long enough for that person to jump out of the back of my Ranchero into the back of the Jeep.
Oh, God.
This was later, the gag was later used in a movie called, what was that? Not The Fall Guy. That was a TV show. It's when Burt Reynolds played a
Smokey and the Bandit.
No, not that one. He played a stuntman in the movie.
Okay.
They featured the first of it him putting his pads on and showed a big scar on his knee that the then governor of Alabama gave him when he tackled him like I was tackled and tore the cartilage in his knee. In old-fashioned surgery, you had to put a 12-inch scar on your knee to fix that.
God.
But somebody that I was riding around with assisted Burt Reynolds in that movie.
Huh.
And they made a pickup truck that would go backwards. You mash the gas, put it in drive, and they reverse the transmission where you drove it backwards.
That's crazy.
And because they saw me do it, they did it in the movie. And I didn't even get credit for it.
Uh-oh.
I said, okay, that's my gag. Wait a minute. When I first saw the movie, I said, I did that. Apparently somebody was riding with me that worked on the movie.
Huh.
You know, Burt Reynolds was playing for Florida State, and he hung around there in South Alabama, South Georgia. But Smokey and the Bandit was filmed almost entirely in Atlanta and the suburbs. And
I ended up living in Ozark, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
That's where Fort Rucker was, Aviation Army. That's where I was.
Well, you said you wanted to go on, so.
Yep.
So I do appreciate you coming on. It was fun.
Len, thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.
You think Reg is going to be available on Thursday?
He better be.
Okay.
He's going to hear it tomorrow. What the fuck, Reggie? What? You know what he told me? The last thing he told me, I says, I'll see you. I'm going over by Len now. And he goes, I just got done eating. I'm really tired. Like that. I said,
he's sleeping.
What a baby. Of course, I don't work anymore, so I can sleep whenever I want.
Yeah, that's the way I am. I just I sleep when I get ready and stay up when I'm ready.
That's what happened yesterday. I went ahead and got up and went in the kitchen, grabbed a cup of coffee, sat down in the chair, and took another 3 hour nap.
Yeah, I've done that. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you that I had cataract surgery
Oh,
on
yeah,
my
I
left
think you,
eye a couple of weeks ago.
yeah, I know. I think you were mentioning it.
Yeah, I got to go back for a checkup first part of next week to see how it's taken, make sure it's all right and settled in, and see what kind of prescription glasses I need for my left eye.
Did they tell you what kind of difference there is between cataracts and glaucoma?
They didn't really explain the difference between them. They say I do not have the glaucoma, and no symptoms of that. They checked the eye for that. They said they saw no glaucoma, but my vision went out completely on my left eye. All I saw was, when you look in a really nice kaleidoscope, you got all the
Right.
colors swirling around. That's what I
Yes.
saw. It looked like a
Holy
completely out of adjustment color TV.
That's
And he told me he saw it was there. He saw the cataract. So sooner or later, you're going to call me and we'll do this. So let me know when the vision goes out. And when I woke up one morning, it was just all I saw was a blur. I said, it's time.
wow.
So
Well, I'm glad you got your sight back. That's good.
Yeah, it's nice. It looks like the hearing loss I'm having in my right ear, probably due to an injury I suffered back 82 or 3. I was in 25 feet of water on the bottom of a pool, and I lost back pressure.
Oh,
No, it's my fault, my bad. But I lost the pressure from the inside,
yeah.
and that pressure hit me and messed up. Had a horrible earache for about a month. Then it went away, suffering no real consequences. But now I've lost about 2/3 of the hearing in my right ear.
Oh, God.
So
They
I'm going
want
to get probably an amplifier to settle to get that straight. But don't ask why I was in 25 feet of water.
I won't.
No diving gear.
That's you can't even go ahead and protect yourself without any
Yeah,
gear. So
yeah. And, I was down there. Of course, I was in a lot better shape then than I was now. Of course, I was a lot younger in '83 than I am here in 2024. About
start,
40 years younger.
starting to look like Tombstone, right?
Yeah.
So you have a great night. Thank you very
You too.
much, and I'll see you Thursday night.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on. It was more fun than me being on by myself and talking about a
Sure,
TV show
sure,
that I could not read anything on there because I didn't want to, disseminate, what they were showing or
right,
talking about. That's why I had the volume down. I couldn't hear them. I really couldn't say what they were talking about, but the stuff on the screen, I didn't want to describe. I didn't want to have any copyright issues.
right. I
But
think
I
that
could talk about, yeah,
Reggie will Reggie will really enjoy it if he watches it
yeah.
because he is the guy. Like I said, cold cases.
We might can do something about it Thursday.
Yeah, we could do that, and we could bring our spirit boxes. He'll have his. He'll have his right there, and he's made contacts on a lot of cold cases.
We
Pretty interesting.
we
I've
can
been
just
in,
see if she's truly guilty or not,
sure,
because there were no witnesses except, and she admitted she put blackface on her face to darken herself up. Like I said, she was her own worst witness. She kept her mouth shut. they had no, there was no way they were going to convict her. They had
Yeah.
suspicions, but they couldn't prove a daggum thing. Except for
That's
what,
what they call. That's why they call some of them dumb broads.
yeah.
You know.
What, she was a former Budweiser girl. Do you remember when Budweiser used to have all the
Yeah.
girls in bikinis
Yeah. Yeah.
touring around? She was a Budweiser girl.
Well, she could have been a baggies lady for all that matters.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. Well, you take care of yourself,
Okay, I'll see you on.
and I'll see you
Thank.
Thursday night about 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you very much.
We'll go as long as you want to go. You get tired in an hour Thursday night, we can call it quits.
Okay, thanks, Len.
All right, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
We'll
Bye-bye.
see you later.
Bye bye.
All right. I'm by myself again, and hope you enjoyed the show. Craig and I talked for a while about some personal stuff. We're running about 2 hours and 20 minutes talking about this, that, and the other. It's been a yak show, but we did cover quite a bit of Marni Yang. If you missed it earlier, she was on the ABC Bad Romance show they had on tonight. I think it's the first one, and they're showing the Marni Yang case. The reason I was wanting to do something with it tonight is because I shot the video of her that they show several excerpts of tonight on the show. They did not pay for these photos. These are copyrighted by me, as it says right there. FoxyMuscleLadies.com is part of Galen and Company, and that's my wife and I. That is my copyright because I took that photo. And this is Marni Yang about 6-7 months before she committed the crime. Saw the show tonight. Yes, she did work out. And she was in a love triangle. In fact, she was dating a guy who was dating about 15 other guys. It was absolutely crazy situation. She's done her time. She was convicted of the double murder. And is done about 12 years now. For the double murder. And she's now saying new evidence. Her lawyer saying new evidence that she is not guilty. But I don't know. Maybe we can find out Thursday night, because we're going to try to use something with a guy who uses a spirit box very well and has worked on cold cases before. This is not so much a cold case as was she lying before when she said details of the crime, or is she lying now saying that she's innocent as somebody else? I find it hard to believe that Sean Gale tried to get away with it, or at least he had something to do with it. I find that hard to believe. But then again, he did leave the United States and is going to London to do sports broadcasting. So I don't know. We can find out something Thursday night when Rich and Greg and I do Spirit Box live this Thursday night, starting about 10 o'clock Central. That's 11 o'clock Eastern. So we will be working with the Spirit Box. Might even do the double blind Estes method. Greg is known for that. So we may do something. So stay tuned. Tune in, like I say, 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central. At Mountain Time, you have to do the math. And of course, it's 8 o'clock on the West Coast. It will be live on YouTube once. my personal YouTube channel, my Facebook profile, and WLFE Radio Facebook page, along with going on the WLFEDB.com website. And it also will be later on, for your later viewing pleasure, put on Spotify and your other favorite podcast networks. So, we're going to go ahead and say a farewell and adieu. Bones, go ahead and do the outro. Good night, everybody. We shall see you Thursday. We'll be back with Rick Goss. Have a great night. Bones. Outro. Hey.
Thanks for watching our show. Be sure to tune in to next week as once again we journey way down south into Bayou Country for another heaping portion of Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman and Bones. Make sure to like, share, and follow. Y'all come back now. You hear?